What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Zoned In podcast. I'm going to be your host this episode, Chickenfried 818. Also with me, I've got Tragic, also known as Troy.
How you doing?
Um, as you've seen from the title of this podcast, of today's episode is titled The Life and Death of Chicken's Laptop. We're going to be holding a memorial service for my laptop that died last weekend. Um, Back in 2019, the first Christmas that me and my now wife were dating, she wanted to get me something really nice. It was our first real Christmas together, and she went all out. And what I mean by that is she contacted Tragic and asked his help for something with my gaming setups. I have been doing some streaming on PlayStation, and if you know, when you stream on PlayStation, it's really just the gameplay and maybe a little picture of you up in the top corner.
Yeah.
And I was just really starting to get into it. I had just really started getting into Ozone, and she wanted one of my streams to get better. So what she did was she called and got a hold of Troy, or she texted Troy, and Troy, what'd you guys do?
So we had a back and forwards conversation, just throwing out ideas of what we could, or what Hannah could have got Brandon for Christmas that year. And we were throwing out a couple of ideas, and eventually I was like, why don't you just ask about a Elgato capture card, which is basically what you put from a PlayStation to, or an Xbox to a PC, laptop, whatever, and you can sort of add more things to it, make your stream a bit more clean in a sense. So Hannah decided she was going to get that, and I told her at the time, I said, just say no, with this, it means Brendan will have to go out and buy either a laptop or a PC. And she seemed to be
And
happy
I remember we opened it up that morning, and my family was confused because they don't know what the hell an Elgato is. I knew what it was. I really wasn't too keen on how it worked yet, but I knew what they were. And I was giddy like a schoolgirl. I was laughing, having a good time, and I ended up going outside and sending Troy a couple Snapchats, and that's when I found out that Troy helped with it. Hannah told me, hey, Troy helped me pick it out because I wouldn't have had any idea what I was doing. And then it clicked a little bit there, and I was like, it was really the first time that you and Hannah really ever talked.
Yeah, that was actually the first time Hannah reached out, was for that. So when her name popped up, I was like, I've seen the name before. It didn't really register where I've seen it. Like, obviously I knew who she was, but I wasn't expecting her to reach out, in a sense.
Right.
So when I seen the name pop up, I was like, oh, what's this? Like, it's just someone wanting to sell something or whatever, and reading the message, it made sense. The name clicked and all that, so.
Well, and like Troy said, that meant that it was time for me to get a laptop or a PC. And it took me a couple months. I ended up buying my laptop in April of 2020. We went to Jeff City, which is just like 25 minutes away from my hometown. Me and my brother and my cousin, we all went, and we went to Best Buy, and I found the perfect laptop. It was a Dell G717 gaming laptop. This thing was top of the line for its time. Came with a pretty hefty price tag, but I was willing to pay that for something nice. And I remember I got all the way through the payment process. I swiped my card, bought the protection plan for 2 years, everything. And then they told me, okay, we'll have it shipped to your house. I'm like, well, I can't really do that. I had a full-time job. I couldn't sit around and wait because they said it was going to have to be signed for because it was an expensive piece of electronics. So they told me it was in stock in the next big town over, Columbia, about 35 minutes north. So I ended up having to bribe my cousin, who was driving us that day, with an 8-ounce steak dinner to drive us the other 35 minutes up to Columbia to go get my laptop. And I remember we got up there, we got it, we went home, and I remember, taking off all of the protective plastics, the screen protector, everything, and just playing around. And um, testing out the speakers, how cool it was to have something this nice finally. And I remember my first month or two playing around with the Elgato was really a learning curve, trying to figure out how to get everything to flow properly. Um, and really, for the first 6 months or so, it really wasn't anything special. It was just me trying to learn how to use that card. And, you know, it wasn't until mid to late 2020 um, where I really started getting more serious into my stream game. A lot of that came with actually getting away from the Elgato and getting into more PC gaming. I don't remember, I think our first couple streams on the actual PC were, simple stuff like Fortnite. I played Fortnite for a long time. Um, and really, that's where me and Troy really started to connect more.
Yeah.
We definitely had conversations before we had each other Snapchat for a long time. I had already moved through, I was a content creator for Ozone, and then I really had already kind of moved into the management scene, but I really wasn't too serious about it. It wasn't anything big, bad yet. Um, but this kind of pushed me to get more serious about streaming. Troy had some awesome overlays made for me at the time with the original, my first Ozone logo. Um,
Yeah,
so I
it's
had
about
some
four
nice
logos
overlays
now.
put on. I know. I had overlays. I had, you know, the different notifications set up. I really was starting to get into it, and that's really where Chicken Fried started to really grow. It didn't really grow a whole lot when I was on the PC or was on the PlayStation, but it really didn't need to. But I really got into that streaming there, and that's when Chicken really started. And it went really well for a couple years. I kind of got out of streaming for about 8 months because me and Hannah moved in. I moved into her apartment in Jeff City and didn't really have all my gaming stuff there for a long time. And even when I did, Wi-Fi wasn't the best setup. Didn't really stream as much as I probably should have. We moved into our current house 2 years ago now, almost. Um, and even then, when we got in, I really wasn't streaming too hardcore because um, just life was going on, man. A lot of things were going on for me, and I didn't really know where things were going to go. So um, I started really getting back into streaming right before Troy came to the States. We talked about in the first couple episodes of the America trip that, we got to spend a lot of time playing games. We got to spend a lot of time just being around each other. And that sparked that energy back in me that I really wanted to get to streaming again. I wanted to get serious about it, and I wanted to have a good time. So after Troy went back, I started streaming more. I started getting more active on my account again. And, November, December, I was streaming 2 nights a week, 5, 6 hour streams. It was a great time. Me and Troy were playing almost every weekend.
Yeah, we're playing pretty regularly.
And it wasn't just, we played a lot of Apex. We played a lot of a new game that came out last October called Lethal Company. And not only that, I was starting to connect with guys I haven't talked to in a long time. Got to connect with a guy named Wolfie, a guy that I've known since I was back in my PlayStation days. Got to connect with some old friends, Merrill, my friend Disler, those guys who are guys that I've played with my entire life. And I was really starting to get that spark of I want Chicken Fried to go somewhere. And then the accident happened. Me and Troy were playing, and we were playing Lethal Company. And if you don't know what that is, it's a game of a lot of jump scares, a lot of, things jumping out when you're not prepared for them. And I got startled, and in the process, I smacked my cup. And when I did, I smacked that cup right over on top of my laptop. And it's like I saw my life flash before my eyes. Because that cup fell so slow, I thought it was never going to land. And I watched it go down, I watched it hit the laptop, and I watched it just pour all over it. And I knew immediately I was in trouble. So I went ahead and I unplugged my microphone, my my mouse, my power supply, my extra screen, and immediately took it over to the sink in the kitchen, tipped it on its side, and immediately it was just like half a cup of sweet tea pouring out of the USB ports. So I knew I was in trouble. Um, I left it overnight, left it up on its side, see if it would drain out, dry out. Went to plug it in the next morning and got nothing out of it. So at that point, I kind of accepted that it was probably dead. Um, I gave it to my brother, and he's going to look at tearing it apart and seeing if it's repairable or if we need to just move on. Um, I'm not holding a whole lot of hope that we're going to be able to save it. So um, that kind of brings us to the future. What is the future of my setup, and what is the future of Chicken Fried? Um, Nobody ever wants to admit that something's going to be done. Um, I had a day, the day after, I kind of sat and moped for a while and said, maybe this is just a sign that streaming's not for me. Maybe it's a sign that I don't really need to be spending my time doing this. And I'll tell you, this week has just been bad. It's been rough. I've been depressed not having games. I've been depressed not having my friends. And I just decided that, streaming is my thing. So instead of choosing to just roll over and let Chicken Fried die, we're going to start a PC build. We're going to build ourselves an actual full-fledged PC, and we're going to build it bigger and better than that laptop ever could have dreamed of. I've already got a parts list put together. We're going to put the parts list in the description of this video. So go check out that list. And I know it's controversial. Everybody has their opinion on computer parts, but go check it out. Go let me know what you think. If there's something you think would be better, put it in there. I would love to hear your guys' suggestions as we move forward with this build. But the biggest thing to know is Chicken Fried is not going anywhere. I'm still going to be gaming with the boys whenever I can. I'll just have to go back to the PlayStation, going back to the olden days for a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's not the end. I'm still going to be on all these podcasts. We'll figure out a setup. Right now, we're just using my phone, but hey, it is what it is. We'll get us a podcast set up just for now, and y'all aren't going to see Chicken going anywhere. And even if I tried, Troy wouldn't let me.
Yep, you tried that before. We brought you back.
So, I just want you guys to know that Chicken's not going anywhere. I'm still going to be around, participating as much as I can in all Ozone events, podcasts, games, anything we got going on. Chicken's going to try to be there. So just keep an eye out. Go show my page some love. Chickenfried 818 on Twitch. I've also got a Twitter or X, depending on how you want to call it. And I'll try to update everything when I am back up and going. But yeah, that's the biggest thing is I'm not going anywhere. Like I said, we're going to put the parts list for the computer I'm thinking about building down in the comments. Go check that out. Also, make sure you go check out Ozone Tragic. I guess he's probably down there.
Yep.
Ozone Tragic on Twitch. He's going to get back into streaming whether he likes it or not.
Yeah, we'll get there one day. We'll get there one day.
And definitely make sure if you haven't, hit that like and that subscribe button here on the Ozone Podcast. Make sure you do that. We're going to try to release videos every 2 weeks. And this podcast isn't just going to be, gaming. It's going to be life. It's going to be, anything going on in our lives. So make sure you hit that like, make sure you hit that subscribe, share it to your Facebook, share it to your Twitch, share it to your Twitter, share it with your friend that lives down the street. But just know, from us here at Ozone, I have to do this outro. Troy would kill me if I didn't. Make sure you go check out ozonegg.com. It's the official homepage of Ozone Esports. From there, you can see all kinds of the news coming up. Anything going on. You can go look at our shop where you can get some cool merch. We've got the hats. I think we've got the updated jumpers. This is the old school one. Troy's rocking that brand new baseball jersey. All kinds of cool stuff on there. Go make sure you check it out. But guys, for now, Tragic and the Chicken are out.